Good afternoon, everybody. Just a very short announcement. The formalities will start at 3:30 today, not 3. We're just waiting for a few more people, so we don't want to get started just yet. So we'll see you at 3:30. Thank you.
Lord, I come to you, let my heart be changed, renewed, flowing from the grace that I found in you. Lord, I've come to know the weaknesses I see in me will be stripped away.
Just give me the thumbs up. Good afternoon, friends and family. Welcome to the memorial of Chad Harris, fondly known as Harry. Harry's been a friend of ours for, well, forever. It's sad that we're here today. My name is George Stubbs. I'm the MC. I mean, what do we feel today? I mean, it's a whirlwind of emotions. I don't know where to start. It's a paradox of emotions. It's a overload of emotion. But the one thing I know for sure is this is exactly what Chad would have wanted at this point. We can rest assured that today, coming together like we are, he'd be smiling down on us. We've got a full program today, so I won't keep you too long. We'll be starting with Sterling. We'll be doing an opening prayer. Trevor will be playing a musical piece. There'll be 6 tributes. Why 6? Because we can. And it's Chad. So with Chad, we gotta do a bit more. But the truth is, he's got so many good friends who wants to share their past and all the good times together. So it's beautiful. And then we will do, if anybody wants, towards the end, if anybody wants to say anything, please just let me know, let Mark know, or Steph. Dale Jansen will be doing a word of thanks afterwards. Then at the end, unfortunately, we're going to have to play that Liverpool song. We don't really want to hear it, but because of Chad, we will allow it today. So, just for today. Okay, guys, so to start the proceedings, Sterling, can you please come forward?
Good afternoon, all. You may remain seated or standing. Let us pray. Dear loving God, we firstly want to express our thankfulness to you for in recent days celebrating the life of your Son, Jesus Christ, through a festive Christmas period. We are thankful, dear Father, for the life that he has brought us, the life he has given us, and that we acknowledge Christ is our future. And whilst we do not know what the future holds, we know who holds the future. But we have come here today because we are broken-hearted. But you have invited mankind to come, all those who are burdened and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And so we invite you, dear Heavenly Father, to be part of our gathering, to comfort us, to provide peace in our hearts. Whilst we do not fully understand everything, in all things we acknowledge your will be done. So, dear Heavenly Father, be part of our gathering here. Allow that we may be preserved from evil thoughts, from the virus, and be present in all our discussions and our conversations. And may we experience, dear Father, a blessed and peaceful few moments together. Grant comfort and peace in our hearts so we can enjoy and celebrate the beautiful life of your Son, Chad Harris. This we all pray in the name of your dear Son. Amen.
Thank you so much, Sterling. Guys, if you can please just put your phones off during the proceedings. Just a reminder. Trevor, you up. Wow, Trevor, that was awesome. Thank you. Sterling, please come forward.
So I don't know Chad as long as many of you do. I only met him in 2019, but I did in the last year, maybe spend every day with him. So I just have a experience that I made with him amongst the many other experiences. A couple of months ago, he was asked by Carter to write a letter. The school required the dads to write a letter because the kids were going away on a camp. And that each dad had to write a letter to their child, and at the camp, they would then, the child would read the letter to the group. So he asked me, Sterling, can't you help me just structure the letter? I said, you've got to write it, but I'll just guide you where I can. And I said, possibly a way as an introduction to the letter, it's nice if we have a Bible verse. And the verse that immediately came to mind then, and came to mind now when Mark asked me to say something, was in the book of Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. And when I shared this with him, he got quite emotional and tearful, and he wrote this in the letter that he gave to Carter. And when they asked me to do this, and I thought this would also be an appropriate verse to Chad. And we all have had a great experience with him through all the interactions and the messages. He was just a very kind and loving and giving person. And we're really going to miss that of him. I think one of the great gifts that God has given us is the gift of memories. And this we all have. And nothing can take this away from us. We all have memories and experiences over the years of the times that we have spent with Chad. So I think this opportunity that the friends have arranged is a great opportunity for all of us to share in those memories and to live through those memories and to honor Chad's life. So let's enjoy the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sterling. So the official tributes will start now, and we'll start off with Steve and Leslie.
You're gonna be okay. Bring it down.
Well, then we but okay, I'm sure this all feels a bit surreal to most of you here, as it does to us. But thanks once again for attending and showing your respects to our good mate Chad. Unfortunately, there are a few people that never made it today or couldn't make it today, and they've sent some messages via whatever.
Emails.
I'll get it for you now. His first is Greg Logier. If I can find it, it'd be
Yeah.
great. Yo. No.
Here you go.
I was prepared, but jeez. Okay, this is from Greg. He's very good mate out in that mongrel place in wherever, Australia.
Australia.
Chad, my wonderful friend, who many years ago saw me standing alone at the Pig and Whistle and said, come over and join us. That day, a special friendship was made with him and so many others who I met through him. As we all know, we had the ability to make friends. He had the ability to make friends with anyone. But he would always do that a little bit more and make sure you're being looked after and happy. Not once in almost the 40 years did I ever feel let down or alone by you. If I needed you, you were there with words of wisdom and always made me feel better. Rest in peace, my brother. meet up with some old friends. And of course, some new ones you've made. Love you always, Greg. From another mongrel in Australia, Raoul, one of our good mates. The first thing I thought about Chad Harris was, oh my gosh, he's got a long neck. Chad had a larger than life personality and would always and would be a poster child for the Aries star sign. Read the description of Aries male and you will come very close to describing Chad Harris. Always present and fun to be around. He seemed to be this to save a life on a level different to most, and one could simply not be down around him. If he considered you a close friend, he committed to the friendship hard and made it well known to you. If he felt your commitment was not in equal measure, you know what would happen. There are too many laughs and great memories to share in this short tribute. So I will conclude by saying, I am sad that my friend died so young, accepting that he's divine and all this time has come. He was a treasured character in this beautiful play we call life. A character that made us smile and laugh, and that we can only do, and for that we can only be thankful. It's from Raoul Britta. Then from Malcolm, I'm sure the Rangers guys all will be waiting for this message. Whenever the name Chad Harris was mentioned in Cape Town or Melbourne, there'd be the same reaction. A shake of the head followed by a wry smile, and you'd want to know, what did he do? For me, he was always a walker. We'd drive to an event, there be fiery commotion with him and his better half, and Chad would walk home. Be it Bergplaats, Tumblers, the Space Odyssey, such an entertainer. We are going to miss you dearly, Chad. In our hearts forever, Malcolm. One more. If I can find it again. Yeah, okay. This is from Rob Jaffa, who we stayed with overseas. Chad Harris, a total legend. Such a welcoming and good-natured guy with a personality to match. He lit up a room with his hilarious banter and always made you feel good. We'll miss him dearly. My thoughts go out to Chad's family and all his friends, which I'm sure are many. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. In many ways, Chad was the link between loads of friendship circles. As I'm sure you all agree, he's kind of the guy that kind of introduced you to other people, and so his presence will be sorely missed. But his memory is everlasting. In his words, poor dope man, and stay black.
Thank you, Stevie and Les, for that moving tribute. Next up, Dave, one of Chad's craziest friends.
Yeah, put it down to my knees, yeah. Okay, don't make it so obvious, okay. Chad, my mind is flooded with a lifetime of memories of you. And I don't even know where to start. There are so many, too many to say, but I believe most of us here today are in the same position. We saw in 2021 together, having a lifetime friend with the same mental disorder as me, priceless. Never did I think I would be seen another year in without you. How blessed I was to have this special time with you. If I knew what was going to happen when we last spoke, I would have told you I love you the most and kept you on the phone.
We saw 2021 in together, having a lifetime friend with the same mental disorder as myself, priceless. Never did I think that I would be seeing another year in without you. How blessed was I to have had that special time with you. If I knew what was going to happen when we last spoke, I would have told you I love you the most and kept you on the phone. We met 42 years ago. Life gifted me you. I knew then just how important a brother you would become to me, a member of our family with a golden heart. You blessed our lives by just being in it. In all the years, we never realized we were making memories. We just knew we were having fun. I will continue to walk down memory lane because I know I will run into you there. Memories are proof that those we love existed. They are magic because we can make them appear whenever we need them. I remember yesterdays and love throughout the years. Chad, our years together may be gone. Our yesterdays are past. But you are alive in memory, and that will last an eternity. No words will ever be able to express how much you mean to myself, Maria, Dylan, and Zach. I'm so proud of you for standing in the storm and always doing your best to adjust your sails when the wind didn't blow your way. You manifest yourself in my broken heart every day, but I will never dismiss it, because I believe that God's treasures are buried in broken hearts. You will always be loved beyond words and missed beyond measure. Auntie Bertha, I know you would do anything to have Chad back. You are the first person who loved him and the first person he loved. The greatest gift of all is that Chad left his heart with you and will always be with you through all of us. Cara, I want you to remember how compassionate and kind your dad was, filled with patience and affection. He was a truly special person with a heart of solid gold who would go to the ends of the earth for you. He loved you more than anything else in the world. A dad's love is special, a gift beyond compare. You only know the meaning when he is no longer here. You can't replace a special time, a special face, a special dad. I want you to continue to find strength in all the love he has for you.
Dave, those were truly special words. Craig Murray. Is Craig? Craig. Thanks.
Is that okay? You make it a bit taller.
You know, when the really close friends, when we walked in, they just said, Chad the bastard. He's looking up and probably checking everyone and hoping that we don't mess up or cry too much. Or just, where do I start with Chad? I think the first thing I'll start with Chad is just his love for children. I got a call from my daughter Mercedes when Chad passed, and she was crying. He had so much love for his daughter Cara, and you know, all of our children. He loved children. He also loved older people and the respect that he had for older people, for my mom, for my dad, the Waldegraves, the Lagers, everyone. We all know how much Chad respected older people. And he was such a people's person, you know. The messages from overseas, Chad would be in the galaxy or the space odyssey or the sporting fraternity. He also tried to always do his bit, whether it was on the neighborhood watch or school committees. If I talk about Chad, I have to bring in Lesline and the Keane family as well. It seems like a previous lifetime when they went out for I don't know how long, until their relationship morphed into like a brother-sister relationship. But Chad loved Lesline's mother as well. So, and the whole Keane family, and I know they loved him. From the nephews and the nieces, they had a special relationship. Chad and Lesline as well, jeez, when I got to London, they had a spot in London at the Royal Hotel that they looked like, I don't know if they were running something undercover, but I asked Stevie, what were they running there, Stevie? Home letting, house letting. They had a TV and obviously colours. They had a music system. They had carpets, whatever they were doing. They were running an operation in London. Uitgesoord. And when that relationship eventually started petering out and Les and Varel, I remember it hadn't quite finished and we were watching the 95 World Cup, I think with the Lagers in Hermanus. And Chad is always a snappy dresser with his clothes. But he rocked up, we knew something was on the go, he rocked up with 3 waistcoats because he had a work function apparently in Houston. Everyone was a bit suspicious. And then, geez, all the trips we had camping away with Stevie, Gail, all the... In London also, I was playing cricket and coaching, so I think I hired a Ford Sierra and I drove down from Yorkshire or Derbyshire down to London and we got in the car to go to Scotland and the Lake District. We all had our cassettes to put in the music system. And when we got to Loch Ness or Inverness to go and get the camping spot, they said, sorry, you're not allowed to camp. How can you tell coloured people they can't camp? So Neil Robertson, if you're watching, he was the best guy. We stayed there for a week camping on that lake looking for Loch Ness, safe, trying to find the monster. And we stayed with my good friend Omar Henry, and when we got there, his son was just 2 days old. We had special memories there. And months later, back in South Africa, Omar, when he saw me at a cricket game, he came and he said, Jesus, brother, your friend. I said, what? He said, I was walking in London somewhere, and this guy at the back of a van said, Omar, Omar. And he was looking, and he said, it's Chad, it's Chad. Chad also did quite a bit of his traveling when he was with Hoovers. I remember phone calls from his time he spent in the States and in Europe. I must tell a story about Chad as well. I wasn't actually there, but my sister Bridget was there, Lesline was there, and a bus was there. And we laughed so much about the story afterwards with Chad as well, because Chad and Lesline were having an arval, and a bus got involved and started manhandling Chad, and they were in and out of the tent throttling each other. And Chad got all pissed off, and they were in Coolby. He walked from Coolby home. And we said, no, Chad, you couldn't have walked from Coolby. Then eventually he said he walked to Blue Downs, and then he called someone to come and fetch him. It might have been you, Dave. I don't know if you... When you talk about Chad, also sport was such a big thing in Chad's. Chad was a soccer man, a Liverpool man, a First National Rangers man. He did his bit as a player. I remember Stevie myself coming when he was chairman. He looked like Sir Alex Ferguson with his jacket. We went to Durbanville and it was a final or something. He looked the part. And we used to always go and watch him play football as well with a hip flask or two. And I remember coming to one game and like, are we late? It's 15 minutes and Chad's walking off the field because the legend that was Farid Khuda, they had an argument and Chad told him the whole team to piss off and he walked off the field. He did it his way. I must also, so we always get to Royal Road and watch First National Rangers. I remember one game I used to always go with my friend Sean Christensen and Alhoffer. And First National Rangers were leading 1-0 with 5 minutes to go, and they lost 2-1. So we went into the bar, supported the bar, and came back about an hour later, and they were coming out of the change room. Apples. Remember, that was the time of apples and tikkies de Ghana. And Apples was telling Sean, he says, yeah, Sean, ons het nou 'n team talk gehad. Die team het problems. En weet jy wat, ek dink ek is die probleem. I remember even during my, when I used to, I want to say during my playing days, it seems like a previous lifetime, but Chad and Leslie coming to watch me when I played for Boland with a young Hansie Cronier. And then Alan Donald, yeah, hit me against the helmet. Thanks, Stevie. And then during my doing commentating days, I made friends with the commentators, and always, if they came around to the house, whether Ian Bishop or Courtney Walsh or Ami Sale, Chad would always be there, and they all loved him. Chad would also be Newlands Cricket. That was where we'd be. I see all the dronkgatte here from Newlands Cricket. We would have meet there under the grass banks or the oaks. Chad was like an institution there with his chair. He'd fetch my mother, drop my mother. We had lots of special times with Chad at Newlands. It became a bit of a problem also because I had to produce tickets. And I had a chummy that gave me tickets, but now I was up to 20 tickets for a test match. Because of Chad's good heart, he wanted to share the tickets round. So it was like, yeah, haven't you got another one for Gus? Or for Fleursy? Or for Alan Hall? Eventually it was like 20 tickets, and eventually I had an accident. Because I still had my 6110 Nokia, and Chad is hassling me with tickets, and I got to Coimbra. I'm driving about 20-30 to say it's in the letterbox, and this car stopped. I'm into the car, a bit of blood, bit of glass, and I was doing the toss with the two captains. I just gave my name, and we'll sort it out, and I got to Newlands, did the toss, and then I called Chad. I said, Chad, I'm stopping this bloody tickets. But the next test, we were back to tickets. There was Chad. He wasn't hollanging the tickets. He was trying to help all his brassen. I must also talk about Chad. When it came to summertime, it was the beach time. Leslie and a beach buggy, and Sharky's beach buggy. And he would always be well oiled. So he would get early to Camps Bay, and people are starting, all the Lebanese are coming from December on the beach. Chad's going, where am I going to meet you guys? We said, Chad, just stick your neck out. Just stick out the periscope. We will find you. We will find you. We had a great time with Chad last year, October, at Sharky's place up the West Coast for Dee's birthday. And we were moving to Scarborough, and I was saying, Chad, you coming to stay with us there? We're gonna get to healthy, brother. We're gonna go into Cape Point and get into nature, but that never ever happened. You know, when we talk, whenever someone passes, we always wax lyrical and say nice things, but the last days or weeks or months or year was a bit tough for Chad. And we'd always say how stubborn he was, hardkoppig, steekgevriet. He did it his way. And all the hundreds of chats we'd have, I'd always say, Chad, you know, a wise man. I don't know who that wise man was. He said, because he would always argue about principle. I said, Chad, sometimes you must choose between whether you want to be happy or whether we want to be right. You can't be both. Rather try and be happy. No, Marie, no, Marie, no, Marie. We stand and sit here. We have no judgments, but maybe if Chad had a message to us is just for us in our lives, we can always, whatever growth factors we need to do or demons we have, let's try and change, Let's try and liberate ourselves. Let's not hold on to stuff. And just finally, Chad brought a lot of people together when he was alive, and he's brought a lot of people together in death as well. He had a great heart, a big heart. He was always loyal to his friends. From St. Joseph's, his soccer friends, all his social friends. Chad, I hope you rest in my brother. May your soul rest in peace.
Once again, Maria, that was awesome. And thank you for lightening the mood a bit. That was much appreciated. So next up is Steph. Please come forward.
Oh, larger than life. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to Isabella's here. Yes, I'll mention that. No, I'm fine. Thank you so much. Craig, thanks for that. If I'd known, you could have done my speech. Save me the time. So, I'm Stephen Swanson, as our MC has mentioned, and so I'm going to go through a few things of Chad as a mate of ours and mate of so many. But firstly, I just want to do a reflection of Chad, and what I'm going to ask everybody for a count of about 30 seconds, in your minds, in your bodies, in your soul, bring Chad into your world and keep him there for that 30 seconds. And after 30 seconds, when I give the cue, we'll do a round of applause in honor of Chad. And then maybe later on, we're sitting around having a drink. I want to hear, what was your reflection? If you were an ex-girlfriend or whatever, I want to know that. If you saw him down a dark alley, we all want to know that. So 30 seconds, bring him into your mind, bring him into your soul. Your 30 seconds starts now. Absolutely wonderful. I could hear a pin drop. Let's do a round of applause in honor of Chad Harris. I want to hear your stories later. So I met Chad, in the footballing world at FNB Rangers, from Observatory to Maitland. But prior to that, we met social circles, going to the same parties, but, when we were very young, Chad was like a bourgeoisie, long hair. He was just the queen or king of the party. And me and Buddha were there. We come there. We like the fucking third-class people, you know what I mean? And he made it known, who are these guys here gate crashing my farewell to London. And we were like always on the outskirts, and all Chad's mates, Stevie, them, and Craig is all wanting like, who the fuck are these hours? Who invited them to the party? So we had some turmoil in the time, but, we forgiving people, and we know that we kind of went to different schools together and all of that. But yeah, and later on in life, when we played football together, You know, it kind of brought us closer, you know, as mates, as a unit, playing in the same team. I know Craig reflected a lot of footballing moments, you know. But, you know, we all can go on and know what a great guy he was, you know. And he just, you know, socially, just an amazing person. I'll recollect one event, you know, Craig mentioned on the field, we're walking off. He's done it so many times. You know, we're playing in the midfield and he's playing and the guys are tackling him too hard and he walks off. Now back at this stuff. I'm not going to play here. I have my legs broken. I'm going to get off this field. Chad, just don't tackle, you know, just hang in there. It's 15 minutes to go. No, I'm done. We got no reserves. There's no substitutes. We play with 10 men. But in the pub, Chad is like, that was a good game, guys, you know. Well, good, blah, blah, you know. We had to eat all of that shit. Crazy. So, you know, many friends. Chad had so many friends. All walks of life. And I tell you one thing, as you're sitting here and we're watching the stream or anywhere else, everybody was Chad's best friend. Wherever you went, Steph, you're my best friend. Buddha, you're my best friend. Everybody was. Now I said, but Chad, you must have one best friend. It's almal van julle. So he chose his moments where he went that he had best friends. I think it was a ploy, you know, to get all the attention. You're my best friend. Chad, whatever. So, yeah, so good friends. He had plenty, and we're honored to be part of his good, best friends, right? Chad fought wars. Once again, Craig mentioned wars. Right, I'll mention a few. City of Cape Town. Oh, shit. Buddha, give me the number for the rates, whatever. I was driving up. It went on and on and on. He spent hours at the City of Cape Town fighting house rate wars. At the banks. Oh, my word. They want to repossess my house. Blah, blah, blah. Banks. Tenants. Steph, Buddha, I need you for bounces. My tenants aren't paying their rent. Can you please... Chad, but we're lovers, we're not fighters, you know what I mean? No, but I need you there. Come, whatever. And of course, the neighbors and his dogs. If any neighbors here, sorry to bring the neighbors into it, but the neighbors and his dogs. There, my neighbors complain the dogs bark. But Chad, dogs are born to bark. No, but they said the dogs make too much noise. Oh, crap. Eventually, I had to give the dogs up, which was quite sad, you know. But wars, I think all of you know, plenty wars with Chad. You know, there's only a handful of wars. He was that one guy that did not give up a fight. He would fight it till the very end to get what he wanted. He had a good heart, massive heart, larger than life. Helped wherever he could, when he could. Even if he couldn't, he'll still be there to help anybody. Advice, a little bit of a rand or two there, you know. But that was Chad, a giver of note. He helped the homeless in Observatory. We used to hear the stories. Steph, I must go to a soup kitchen. Steph, please, can you organize fish? I must make pickle fish for the homeless because the Auntie Mari and Auntie Sozie is going to make pickle fish on. Yeah, I'm a fisherman, but for flack's sake, I know fish falling all over the wall, but okay. But that was Chad, and we try and help him, you know. And, of course, helping friends and so on. Many visits to our house, you know. She's like it. He's been to us almost every night, but especially during the COVID period. And he had a routine. He goes to Leslie, spends lekker time by Leslie. Then on the upper 7, my friend, Steph, are you home? I'm always bloody home. I'm going to pop in by you. Where you come from? I come from Leslie. Okay. Leslie stays there, we stay there, and Observatory is there. So it's like, no, but I must drive past your house. Excuses. He always had a story to tell, right? Very knowledgeable guy. Lots of stories. And the wonderful thing about Chad, whoever was at my house, new friends, old friends, he would make himself be their friend. He'll find the medium of conversation and he'll fit in no matter who is there. And that was Chad. Just love people, love chatting. He loves to have the center of attraction, by the way. So in my house, he does all the talking and I just flip and make fire and make braai and blah. Swanee, you're right. Okay, you just... keep the people entertained, you know, and that's him. That's how he went about his business. Dress sense. We know Chad. All the best of clothing, always look good. You know, wool, you know, you go out, he looks great. He comes to visit you, smart shirt, buttons, maybe till here. Didn't have chest hairs, he didn't show much in the middle anyway. But he always looked good, but he wore some crazy outfits. And I'll mention one crazy headwear. He came to my house with a crocheted woolen cap that had 2 stitches coming down next to his ears, and he was so happy with this cap. A friend of mine, Marcus Gangan, happened to be there, ahead of Chad, and Chad walks into the door. Marcus being a very funny, laughing type of guy. He burst out laughing. Look at you! What you wearing? It's a crocheted cap that whoever made. Oh, it looks stupid. He never wore that cap again. In fact, he left it in my house. It was there for maybe 3 years. Eventually, I gave it back to him. He never wore that. So, he got the message. You can look smart, but when you wear something that's crocheted and it's got 2 little things coming on the side, that is an absolute no. Friday last week, in the sad times of Chad's passing, myself and Bonzi, we went to go visit Auntie Bertha on a Friday afternoon, and Cousin Dale came along, and it was such a special moment to sit in the lounge. Auntie Bertha's there. I'm sitting here. Bonzi's there. And Dale is there. And then, just feeling the vibe with her. And I said, Auntie Bertha, so tell me, how was Chad last night? He said, Stefan, he was sitting in that same chair you're in. Oh, jeez, like it up. I felt the vibration. All right, I sat again down. He sat in that same chair. And he looked beautiful. He looked content. He looked happy. And I think that was the message that Chad wanted to send Auntie Bertha on the night before he passed the next morning. And hearing that brought a tear to my eye. And we thank Auntie Bertha for recollecting that night, his last night in his home, in the presence of his mom. And I will take my hat off to Chad for that, and we all know that he went the way people should go. Happy on his last night. Life lessons? Whew. We learned so many life lessons. Chad could direct us in all directions. He could tell me how to catch fish. I said, Chad, calm the farm down. You know nothing about fishing. You don't even know what goes into a can of tuna. But Steph, if you go and you use that hook, or you go and you throw your line like so, hy wil vir my partye kan sy dit nou glo. Crazy. That's Chad. He want to tell you your business, but when it comes to my fishing, no, not going to work. So life lessons is basically Chad's life, the way he conducted himself, the way he went about his business, And, we all are different. We are different people, but Chad was very lonely, but he had comfort in knowing that he had friends. He had friends that cared for him. He didn't have friends who could pee there all the time, because remember, we were in COVID. People had situations. We were busy people. So the little bit that were there, he still found comfort in having those friends with him. And those that weren't with him, he always spoke about you. He always treasured you. So I will say here today, when Chad left us, or he was asked to leave by the Maker above, he left a happy man. So I will salute Chad as a mate, as mates on behalf of mates, a wonderful guy, and someone that we strive to be kind of like, We'll try and dress like him. We'll try and be like him. So in closing, all I want to do, turn around, kiss my finger, and put it on that man's lips, right there. Salute, Chad Harris.
Gee, Steph. It's difficult to follow on from that. Awesome. Really, really, really well done. So we got 2 more to go. So Bonnie, are you ready for us?
Hi, everybody. Chad will be so happy to see everybody here today, everybody that he loved and cherished. I didn't know him for a long time, but I knew him for a good time. And we had a lot of good times together. And for the past the last 5 years or so, we spent many hours sitting around my bride table, talking about life, talking about the people he loved the most, and his mother and his daughter. And we shared so many. And Chad had so much wisdom. He was such a clever lad. There was nothing that Chad didn't know. There wasn't a topic he didn't know. Chad knew everything. If you had a problem, phone Chad. He knew the answers. If I had a rates problem or anything in my house, Chad knew. Just phone Chad. Bonnie, calm the fucking farm down. And, you know, there was always swear words. There was not a sentence without a F and a whatever. But I won't say those names because I will respect you today, Chad. Forgive me for that. But in the last few years, I've grown so close to him. And I just loved his personality and his love for people and for life. And you know what? Chad is an off-the-cuff guy. And I didn't prepare the speech. But I'm going to be off the cuff because that's what Chad would want. And I want to tell you here today that he would be so honored to have all of you sitting here and speaking about the way you remembered him. Because that is how we need to remember him, for the way he was. I don't give a fuck about the last 2 months that he was struggling. You know, he did it his way. He wanted to be happy, and that's how he lived. And then there's this poem I saw today, and I thought, this is how I want to remember Chad. We are here to celebrate your life and the measure of its worth, and every single life you touched while you were on this earth. We wish to pay our last respects. That's why we all are here. To thank you for the friendship and all the memories we hold dear. It's been an absolute privilege to have known you. We were family, not just friends. And we will carry you in spirit until we meet again. Chad, I thank you for your wisdom, your kindness, and most of all, I thank you for friendship. I love you, guys. Stay black.
Thank you, Bonnie. Before Daryl gives the last tribute, just a few formalities. And I think you all know there's a cash bar for your own account. There's also tapas you can order from the same place. So please, if you need some food, please order. And once again, unfortunately, it's for your own account. For you, those of you who don't know, the ablutions are just to my right, just around the corner. There's 2 there for males and females. And then I think with regard to COVID, and I think we can all be sensible, we're all over it, but let's just try to do some sort of social distancing. We are outside, so wear a mask when you can. Okay, that's pretty much that's it for the formalities. Daryl will be the last of the tributes.
Thanks, George. You've got to make that a lot lower than Craig was. Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Daryl Rolf, and I'm the chairperson of First National Rangers and Agnes Football Club. Quite a mouthful. We'll refer to it as Rangers during my short tribute. I can't ad-lib the way Bonnie did. I'm going to mess it up. And so I've prepared something, and hopefully it will reflect the honest views of those who've mentioned Chad's values beforehand, because there are going to be certain aspects which unfortunately will be repeated. So here we go. I've greeted. Thank you to Auntie B, Cara, and Chad's extended family and his friends for the privilege accorded to Rangers to contribute to this afternoon's proceedings. I convey this tribute and message of support in my capacity as chairman of the club. At the outset, we convey our heartfelt condolences to Chad's mom his daughter, extended family and friends on his passing, which came as a shock. This was more so given the fact that the club as such was unaware of his recent hospitalization and the medical complications which beset him. And this was more so, he's the third member we have lost this year. The others being a chap by the name of Faisal Bartman, who was part of a team instrumental in establishing our thriving junior section, and Danny Malapo, who as a player won the double-double with the first team in successive years, and then took that team to the SAFA competitions, being the Castle League. Chad was a founder member of Rangers, which was established in 1993 after an amalgamation between Rangers and Agnes and the then Barclays Football Club. As I understand it, this was an amalgamation driven by two cousins. And there was a bit of needle at the beginning, as I understand it, because I arrived a few years later. The one party claimed that they were able to play football, whilst the other party had the financial security. And needless to say, Chad was on the Rangers side, which to this day still claim that they were the footballers with all the skill and ability. Cocky, but never arrogant. Chad's legacy with the club as a member was twofold. He contributed both on the field and as part of the club's administration. As a player, he progressed through the junior ranks from the club base at Malta Park, observatory to the senior teams of the amalgamated club, and eventually into the veteran divisions. And he was an accomplished footballer, playing mostly in the midfield, who hated losing. I think people have mentioned that fact previously. And was given to some tantrums on the field. And I've got to recall the same incident which Craig recalled. It was in an over 35 match, and it was on the A field, and we had quite a lot of support. And Chad, as he said it himself, he was working from box to box. That's a term used only lately now when you listen to Jurgen Klopp and so on. But at that stage already he was working box to box, and he wasn't being played in often enough. He became frustrated, picked up the ball and hoofed it over the clubhouse. And then in an expletive-laced comment, he said he was quitting, he was hanging up his boots and F everybody else and so on, that's why. And he then just left the field and went to sit on the sidelines. What he was also famous for in the post-match, sort of post-mortems in the dressing room, he always made reference to the fact that he was the one who was putting his body on the line. And that was obviously, exactly, that was the standard comment which the rest of his teammates asked him, what body are you referring to, Chad? And all, of course, was accepted in good humor. And he also participated in some self-deprecation because he insisted that he wanted to take every corner, whether it was from the left-hand side or the right-hand side. And he'd always say, guys, they wouldn't know whether it's the corner flag taking the kick or whether it's me taking the kick. I must say I was a little concerned whether his clubmates' viewpoint about his body was correct, because when I had a look at the group that was created, there was a picture of Chad posing on a rock in his bathing costume. And somebody then commented and said, Hercules. And I actually went back to look at it earlier on, just to ensure there wasn't a question mark or an exclamation mark. But there were neither of those punctuation marks, and so obviously we were being unkind, and the rest of you know better. He was actually built like Hercules, and if not better. Chad was a fierce competitor who understood the dynamics of teamwork and would give his all when he donned the club's kit, which he always wore with pride. And no club obviously could ask for anything more from a player. Whilst playing accomplishments will be dimmed with the passing of time, because each successive generation believes that they are better than the previous one. My opinion is that Chad's contribution to the club as an administrator will leave an indelible mark, as I see it. I met Chad in 1995 when I joined the club, and from the outset, it was clear that he had firm viewpoints. And I understand now it wasn't only on how the club would run, but just generally he had firm viewpoints, on how the club was being run, and busied himself with administrative tasks as part of the executive committee in the late 90s already, until he was elected as chairman in the 2004-2005 period. And I think he was working at Woolworths at that stage. Of immediate concern to the club at the time was the development of the Observatory Business Park complex and its impact on the multi-park field historically used by Rangers. And Chad drove that process energetically in an attempt to safeguard the club's interests by securing a valuation on the existing clubhouse, a commitment from the developers to relocate. I mean, he went and spoke to Rabi and Mike Vitri one-on-one, because, I mean, he had the chutzpah. You just walk in there, and he's the equivalent of the CEO, and he had no problems with it. And he tried to secure a rebuild of the clubhouse along with a performance guarantee, which the city required at that stage. And very disappointingly, the city reneged on its agreement with the club. They retained the money on the guarantee, and they found some rare frogs which prevented the club house from being rebuilt at Malta Park. It's amazing how a number of years later you can have such a big development just across the road on the River Club complex. Yeah, thank you. And this unresolved matter rankled with Chad, who steadfastly pledged his willingness to assist the club in unlocking the problem as recently as this year still. Chad, in those trying circumstances for the club, demonstrated not only his loyalty and what I saw as an innate character trait of batting for the underdog, and I think somebody earlier on mentioned that as well. He was also proud that the Rangers members had built the eventually demolished clubhouse out of their own pockets, brick by brick. And he was the only member and the one with foresight who realized the importance of the plaque commemorating the building and rescued it from the rubble after the city demolished the building on a morning when junior matches were scheduled to be played. I was Chad's vice chair at the time, and I think we worked well in tandem. He was the good cop, I was the bad cop. His easygoing disposition, disarming smile, and likable character appealed to everybody, and is evidenced by the glowing tributes paid to him today. Chad was able to build bridges and relationships easily within the football fraternity, and use that ability to good effect on the Royal Road complex, where he was instrumental in establishing the Facilities Management Committee. That was a city-created entity which manages the use of city-owned sports facilities, and which in a number of communities had been the source of tension, where there were competing claims for the use and upkeep of sports facilities. And the Royal Road was no different, a complex. And the club sharing the facility had no real working relationship and seemed to tolerate each other out of necessity. But Chad exercised the charm offensive and diplomacy in his capacity as the club's founding FMC representative over a few years, and laid the foundation for meaningful engagement between the clubs, which still persists. And the clubs now enjoy a healthy, albeit competitive, coexistence. And you must remember, we were the new boys on the block. We had been dislocated at Malta Park. As part of the amalgamation, the club then set up their playing fields at Royal Road. But on that facility, we had a club which today is 90 years plus, Norway Parks, really rooted in the community. And there's another sister club, Saxon Rovers, who are probably about 85 years old. And we come in there as the Johnny-come-latelys on the complex, you know. And they didn't like that because we had brick and mortar structure, which some of them, one club didn't at the time. And they felt that we had been spoilt as a result of the amalgamations and so on. The effect of that relationship has manifested itself in the removal of our own Berlin Wall, which divided the complex down the middle between the clubs who were previously affiliated to the Western Province Football Board and those affiliated to the Western Cape Football Association under the old sports regime. And in or about 2009, Chad was still busy. He was also instrumental in forming the Malta Park FMC. I think at that stage he had moved to Capitec already. And to ensure, his move there was to ensure he was close in terms of proximity, being an observatory, once again to try and ensure the club's best interests. The city, however, decreed that we couldn't serve on 2 of these committees, and we have since withdrawn our involvement there. Despite Chad's likable personality, he could also be as stubborn as a mule. And once he had made up his mind, he was not easily persuaded to change tack. This was, however, a blessing in disguise for him as an administrator, as he demonstrated steadfastness and an ability to adopt principled positions, both of which are important character traits when you lead, as Chad did. After that, Chad withdrew himself to a large extent from the club. There was the drought, the 2 years of COVID, and he only interacted intermittently with the club on a formal basis, although he and I interacted more regularly. And as a distraction, last year, fully aware of the situation he found himself, I thought that if I could get him involved in the club again, it would at least serve as a different focus for him. And being Chad, he volunteered willingly. Unfortunately, I think that his situation was too distracting, and he withdrew himself then after a few months. And by a quirk of drafting fate in our constitution, Chad is still the immediate past chairman, because for my sins, after I took over as chairman, nobody else has wanted to take over again. And therefore, Chad is still a member of the club's management committee, albeit not an active participating member when he passed. And he's been strictly involved in the club, or his involvement has never stopped. I thought, given the venue, it wouldn't be inappropriate perhaps just to read the Rangers motto. So just bear with me, please. The Rangers boys are happy. The Rangers boys are we. The Rangers boys are we. The Rangers boys are happy. When we go on a spree, because we never ever quarrel and we never disagree, because the motto of the Rangers boys is come and have a drink with me. Glory, glory, what a hell of a team we are. Glory, glory, what a hell of a team we are. Glory, glory, what a hell of a team we are. For the Rangers boys are we. Chad, rest well. My teammate, my fellow administrator and friend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Daryl. So before we get on to the thanks, there's one more little note from Skyla Bonds. Uncle Chad, I'm sorry I couldn't be there today, but I love you and will miss you so much. Thank you for always supporting my hockey and for always having a smile. Love, Skyla. Okay, so the tributes are done, and everybody did a fantastic job. Thank you guys very much. Maybe not me. So, Dale, please come forward for the thanks. Okay. I think you're a strong person.
Hi, everybody. How's it? So I'm Chad's youngest cousin. And on behalf of the family, Auntie Bertha, Carter, the Van der Horn and Harris families, for all the messages of support that have come through. Thank you. Auntie B says she never knew that Chad knew so many people and how truly loved he was by all. a special word of thanks to Reggie Thomas and Isabella's team
Thanks,
for the
Reg.
venue. Roger Alexander and the team, thank you so much for doing the streaming. Trevor Fleers for the music, you're rock, guy. Sterling for that wonderful prayer and opening for us. George as MC, thank you. And to Robin Bourne Undertakers for everything they've done. To his brothers and sisters, Stevie, Leslie, Dave, Marie, Stephen, Gail, Bonnie. Personally, I cannot thank you enough for everything you've done for Chad. But as we are all here today, I can ask you to take lessons from your friendship. Be there for one another, regardless, no matter what happens. Give without expectation. And when you get a present, fucking open it, like with gusto, because that guy loved presents. Travel. Anywhere, any opportunity you get, even if it's just up the coast or inland or overseas, travel, meet new people, to the bottle shop, yeah. Meet new people. Live your life to the fucking fullest, seriously. Don't let a moment go by. If you do, you're gonna miss out on an opportunity that you may regret in the future. If you have a spare moment, read a good book. It's the one thing he kind of made sure I did. The last one, teach your kids how to network and to make every single person they meet feel special, so that hopefully one day they too will know love and friendship like this. Stay black.
Okay, guys, in closing, just from my point of view, leading up to today, forgive me for singling out someone, well, two people. It's Mark Barnes and Steph. I mean, as they drove this whole process. So from my point of view, they did, and he wants to stand on the side there and hide away, I will refuse. Well done. Then I was also asked to please say thank you to Dale for all that you have done for this process. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, so I'm really sorry that we have to finish off with a silly song. I'm really sorry, but we will have to. So in closing, thank you guys for coming. Thanks once again to everybody who said those beautiful words, and let's have a party today. In honor of Chad, respectfully.
Through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, for your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you may